Thanks, thanks for staying tuned to your station, the African Independent Television, and welcome to your program, Security Watch Africa. Only on this channel will bring you that information you need to keep your life safe and secured. Welcome to the program today. My name still remains Patrick Abambo. Thank God it's another Saturday, a great day to be alive, really, even though we know that our lives are no longer as used to be. We are not as free as it used to be, but we thank God that we are alive, and we are making every effort to ensure that you and I stay alive, and that is why we are advised to stay home and stay safe. Sadly, a lot of things are happening at this period. Just 2 days ago, yesterday precisely, our Muslim brothers and sisters commenced their Ramadan fast. We're already in the Ramadan month. Unfortunately, congregational prayers and meeting is not allowed because of the issue of coronavirus, COVID-19. It's so sad, but I thank God because God is everywhere. Wherever you are, you pray to Him, He answers you. And that is why we must commend the religious leaders, particularly in Saudi Arabia, Mecca, where they have asked nobody to congregate. Like you can see on your screen now, that is the holy place, the holy temple, the seat of Islam. We can see it's deserted at this hour. At this period, millions of people all over the world gather. But today, it's not there. That's to tell you the time we are in today. It's sad, but it's the reality. We all pray that very soon we'll all get back to our normal lives. Welcome again. It's so sad, but really, that is the reality. But talking about the reality is that our lives also, in terms of fighting and ensuring that the security of lives and property continues. The Nigerian army is also continuing with the fight against insurgency and terrorism. And we must commend what is being done. Security Watch Africa has a report about the operation and what is happening currently and the need to support our military to ensure that there is total victory over these terrorists and insurgents. Sit back as we bring you this report by Shuli Daniels.
Since the year 2009, Nigeria has been faced with deadly insurgency and terrorism attacks launched by Boko Haram group. Many lives have been cut short, properties worth billions of naira wasted, and communities destroyed. The United Nations organization has described the group as the most deadliest terror group in the world. The Nigerian government has over the years struggled to bring to an end the menace of this group, but nothing much was achieved until the advent of President Muhammadu Buhari's government and with the appointment of Lieutenant General Tukur Yusuf Buratai as the helmsman of the Nigerian army. More vigor was injected into the fight. Some money was appropriated to support the battles. Equipments were ordered. Allowances were promptly paid. Morals became high. Boko Haram was degraded and reported to be defeated. How can this be sustained for total victory against this insurgent and terrorist group? Experts spoken to say that there is need for more funding of the operations of the Nigerian army.
Military is only as strong as the equipment, technology that is available to it. We cannot fight modern insurgencies that is multinational in character, multipolar in model, with bare hands, with rhetorics. You need equipment, appropriate one at that, to deal with these guys, because they have the sophistication, they have the strategic leadership, that drives the agenda as well. So, and you cannot come about this equipment by going to the manufacturer, prostrating to them to give it. You need to spend the money. You need to invest now, invest tomorrow, and years to come.
I know the government is doing the best it could, in terms of funding the military, but I believe more need to be done. And it is not just funding the military. You look at the subsectors, those things that are easily you know, those that easily wear out, and so they need to be replenished over time, you know, so that there shouldn't be any break in terms of logistic requirement of the military. Therefore, the issue of funding is very critical. The military need to be funded adequately to enable it to succeed, you know, in carrying out its constitutional role, and so that we have peace, stability, and development in this country.
The military needs better funding than what is available now. You know, we kudos to the president for what is done so far, but I would say, you know, it's like we've only scratched the surface. If we've done that, we need to up the ante in terms of the investments that, you know, we should make, continue to make for the military.
With the beginning of the year 2020, the Chief of Army Staff mobilized and relocated to the battlefield, and this is reported to have led to the increased intensity in the final onslaught. Speaking further on the Nigerian Army operations in the northeast of Nigeria, Sani Usman and Kaji Oladipo opined that the physical presence of General Buratai in the front line has taken the fighting spirit of officers and soldiers to a high crescendo.
You can see, thankfully, the military is up and doing, particularly the Nigerian Army. You can see that they have been now taking the fight to the, you know, terrorist enclave wherever they might be, and that is a good sign that things are changing for the better. And even as at that time, really, the issue was people tend not to understand the fact that as time evolves, situations also evolve in which you have to change your tactics. And by and large, it's just a question of giving the military all the necessary support and understanding they require to enable them succeed. Because if we don't, who else will do this job for us? And thankfully, they are doing it very well. They have done it elsewhere. And of course, if you look at it from 2015 to date, the tremendous effort being put in place is so wonderful that we have the peace we have now.
It's also a good thing to note, to observe. It's leading by example. Since the inception of his leadership, since he assumed leadership of the army, it's always been like that. And the fact that, you know, at some point he was not there physically, you know, does not mean that you know, he did not have his hand on what was going on there. So I think his presence there now is more of a morale booster for the fighting forces, for our military.
Shirley Daniels, Security Watch Africa, Abuja.
Welcome back. Yeah, one feels proud when you see officers and soldiers doing wonderfully well. Who knew that Nigerian soldiers and officers can do that? And I also watched the Chief of Army Staff himself jump down from the high tops of from the aircraft to the ground. That is leading by example. Yes, come to where we are today. Already in the studio, I have two gentlemen who are here. They're always here to look at this issue of coronavirus, COVID-19. On my right is Shino Phillips. Shino Phillips is the Security Watch Africa's international assessor, and Dr. Emeka Kainebi, who is our expert here in terms of COVID-19 updates. Yes, On the screen, you will see the current update of what we have from the NCDC. Some say it doesn't look good because total confirmed cases as we speak today right now is 1,095 with 32 deaths. Yes, but joyfully there are about 208 discharged persons. That is good news, but really the number is ramming up. Let me go straight to Dr. Kanebi. Yesterday, somebody commented when he saw this figure, that was as late as close to 12 midnight, and called me and said, Patrick, we are in trouble. I say, really, are we really in trouble? But maybe that is the reality we have in what could have necessitated the factors for this high number?
You know, so thank you, Patrick. You know, I've always mentioned that we're actually not testing enough. And I said that even last week that the more we test, the more we'll see the numbers, because it's been established that there's already community spread. So it's already here with us, and it's going from community to community. So as we start testing more people, trust me, even other African countries like Ghana has tested over 60,000 people. Yeah. Nigeria is just 1/6 of that. So the more we test, we're going to see the numbers, and that's what we're seeing all over the world.
That's what we're seeing right now.
Exactly.
And we have the statistical breakdown of this state by state, and it's I don't know if it's on the screen for you to see the various states. Currently, we have 25 states, or going to 28 states that have been affected with including Abuja with their figures and those already recovered and discharged and the death recorded. That figure we're having on the screen. Talking about testing, because that really is one issue. One joy that we have now is that I think our capacity is being improved. And from what we also saw yesterday, Ogun State government opened up another drive-through collection center for testing. Also, we have it there so that people can go in, drive through, and get tested. But there are some issues. NCDC had said that people seems not to come. They are scared because of the issue of coming out for testing. So they are not even meeting up to the 1,500 capacity of people coming in daily to get this. Before I come to it, let me find out from him, because is there no stigmatization here now? Because it seems that people are afraid to go and get tested so that they will not be stigmatized.
You have captured it. The problem is fear of being stigmatized. And that's why I said that the more we try to solve this problem, the more we enlighten the people. If they do not understand that, as much as this is a killer virus, it can be combated, it can be defeated. And no one should be ashamed to come to make a call and say, this is present here, let's deal with it. Until that enlightenment comes, vigorous, effective enlightenment, friendly, kind. And you have people who, if it's possible to have those who can testify, one or two who can testify and say, yes, they were infected, but they have been taken care of. Yeah. They are living witnesses, and so others can come at this. We penetrate.
Yeah, I think we have some people who have done that. But one of them came up to say that since he came on the social media to announce that he's been cured, people have that run away from him. I don't know what really, from the medical perspective.
Yeah. So again, just like what Mr. Phillips has said, what's the communication out there regarding? Because initially, if you remember, the testing was for a select group of people. We're doing some form of contact tracing. Yes. But it seems that that umbrella has been widened, has been extended, to other people, so if you have these symptoms, if you can contact the NCDC, you can come for testing. We need to start having that clarity in the information as to who can get a test. It needs to be very clear. So trust me, a lot of people would even want to have themselves just get tested so that they know, and then know what to do afterwards, whether you have a negative test or you have a positive test. Okay. What are your chances?
Because like what we have in Ogun State that is on the screen, if you see it, it's something that you can on your own. Just drive. You don't need to call, go and take the sample, then 24 hours later the result comes out. Then Lagos had opened about 20 sites where this things can be taken.
Patrick, what this is revealing, as far as from what I see, from the security angle and then from a nationalistic point of view, you discover that if we had embraced patriotism as a people, communicating and then adhering to, for instance, the lockdown will be easy. Some people have defined this as, okay, it's an Abuja problem.
Yeah.
Some have defined it as a Lagos problem. It shouldn't be.
Yeah.
You see, that's why I continue to emphasize that until we begin to embrace the doctrine of patriotism, we are not likely going to win. It's even the smallest enemy. This is the opportunity we need to look inward and begin to, see ourselves as one. And patriotism is love for country. Yeah. That's the only way.
Because this also affects yourself too, because if you don't do it, you may be exposing yourself
talking
to danger.
about communication regarding where to even have the testing and who should even get the testing, we have to do this in a stepwise, because the information we're getting right now is as if the test is available, but we know that the test is not as widespread as it is.
Yeah, but I know that in Lagos, for instance, those centers, they already published where you can go. And though people there are saying that not much people are still coming. So in Abuja, I think what they're doing now is also going door to door. Those areas they feel is density.
Exactly. They need to now exactly. So if you're doing a door to door, do you have capacity to meet every door to door? Because you need to now know who are you now not testing. So if you're going to go, that's the route you want to go. But again, are there high risk groups? Just like what he said, people that should have this testing first, because we do know that they don't have 200 million tests, so they can't test everybody. No country even has that amount of tests. So what are we doing to ensure that the people who need the testing first have it, especially our frontline workers, our military, our police force? They are the ones that come in contact, people who sell food to us. These ones come in contact with people on a daily basis because these are essential services. Do we need to test those people first? Number two, a negative test today does not mean a negative test tomorrow. So we also have to think about that. If I have a negative test today, I could get infected tomorrow. So also the guidelines for social distancing, for physical distancing, for the hygiene, hand and surface hygiene is still very critical. And that's what is even in places where they're starting to reopen businesses. And we have to start thinking about that. What are we doing? What are we doing to ensure that those guidelines still stand, at least until we're able to curb this? Because if you open the economy and people just go out there and say, oh, I have a negative test, you could get infected tomorrow. Okay?
Exactly. Yeah, because that is actually one of the biggest challenge now. The issue of there are a lot of people that have it, they do not know. And they are mixing up with the population. So that is making it spreading the more. Especially with the lifestyle, the way we live in most of our communities. There are some communities, especially around Abuja and some places where you go. You were telling me about
I went around, and you get to these communities, as far as they're concerned, nothing is happening. Restaurants are opened. Salons, barbing salons are opened. Bars are opened. And the problem I see is that it's not enough for you to reach out to them through through television or radio. You need to, come up with a different concept, strategy that, you have people on ground, like the town carriers, going through those communities where you have 90% illiterates.
No, but you see, I actually tried to find out in some communities.
Even in Gariki here.
In some communities, in Gariki, you don't use star criers in Gariki.
No, but if you go into the interiors, you see them.
Those interiors, I think it's the issue of, in the first instance, some do not believe this was real.
Because it's not clear to them.
Do you understand?
We've always said this because
they feel that it has not affected somebody they know personally.
They know, and that's it. That's just what it is. So for a healthcare worker, because you deal with, what these things are.
You know the irony of such places. If it happens to one person in one compound, the news will go.
Exactly.
It will each one tell one, then they take it.
Then it catches.
But do we have to wait until
we don't need to wait till then. That's why we need to have clear understanding.
Now he said something which I want you to contribute. The issue of lockdown, opening of business and all that by in few days, just 2 days from now.
I think
second 14 days will
I think that a lot of Nigerians will kill me if I make attempt to ask for other lockdown. However, it is too premature for us. It's even foolhardiness for us to attempt to open the economy, to open business right now.
Totally. Phil, I'll come in there to say...
I know. Which we want it, gradually pick up. But right now, I fear the trickling of this into other states. Our borders interstate borders are still very porous.
Okay.
We don't have enough men on ground to man even the major borders, let alone the sites. So I think that as a people, as a nation, because at this point, after this time, we should be looking at for preventive measures to, to see to it that there won't be a resurgence, because it's likely going to happen, especially in Africa, God forbid. So all I'm saying is that if government can find a way, a friendly way to approach this matter by way of sensitization and give people benefits, 10 strong reasons why the lockdown should be if we must overcome COVID-19, people are likely going to listen. And then palliative measures must be strengthened.
Exactly. So what he said that is very important is, but again, we have to think about it this way. When you now do an opening of an economy, it has to be gradual. You can't just open it.
They're crying in Georgia right now.
You're good. Exactly. That's the problem.
Because
so
I know
it has to be stepwise. So talking about the borders. So for example, if they were to open, and that's what they have to start doing. What is the exit plan from the lockdown? Would schools hold on a bit? Will some services start? What are the mitigation measures per facility that will be instituted and enforced? What would I see in a particular place to ensure that people observe these mitigation measures?
Okay, because I'm getting sick here that we will have to go.
Strategy.
Exactly.
I want two of you to just say one thing on this, because some option is that maybe you lock down the interstate crisscrossing from state to state, then open up gradually, maybe make it mandatory that everybody, if you must come out, you must have your face mask within the community. I don't know if it's a good idea.
I've started seeing this on even an FCT. The FCT, there's something they're calling the Fighting COVID Together. Yes. I don't know if you've seen that. So there are posters that are saying wear a face mask. Ghana has started that. A lot of countries are saying if you have to be in public, put on, Patrick, I think you love this face mask. Well, so basically people are, if you want to open the economy, then if you have to be in public, just as another strategy to ensure that people prevent themselves from being infected. And if I'm infected, I prevent from transmitting to somebody else. Can I go out with a face mask? And can this be made available? So even whilst coming here, I saw people have already started knitting and sewing face masks so that we can always reuse, wash.
Is it a good option?
I think it's better than nothing. Because everywhere in the world, this is coming up. It's better than nothing.
My right now is to appeal to Nigerians. We are the greatest black nation in the world. We are faced with a very strange war that we must win. My appeal is Nigerians should reason with government, and government also find a way to make it easier for Nigeria. If we need to go further, we must come together and win this war.
And come up with strategy. We just have to have an exit
that's
strategy.
Why we said that.
Who comes up with this strategy?
The government.
No,
it has to be the government because it can't be individuals.
The private sector,
yes, the private sector,
the
government come together and say, what is the reopening strategy and how are we going to do it so that to ensure that this happens well.
If I ask, can you give us just in 1 minute, what strategy you think would be best for now?
So I honestly think that a stepwise gradual, so basically essential services can start functioning as a regular basis, because right now they're still skeletal. Schedules are different, but if we have that opening, for example, some petty businesses can start, those that you don't have to have people congregating together at least for a start.
But even now that it's restricted, you see people disobey.
Exactly, that's the problem, because they haven't had a clear guidance as to a strategy.
Do you know what I think? This has come, nobody envisaged it. It's a time for us Nigerians to look inward, find a way to solve our problems ourselves. If we can do it with COVID-19, we'll achieve other things.
Exactly. And let us know that we care for each other. I've always said this. Important. If we don't see that it's all about, like we keep saying, it's patriotism, it's everybody, then people are going to flout every order you put there.
All right. Sadly, we have to leave for that programs to continue, really. But we have all said one thing, that there's need for us to cooperate with what the health sector, the government are informing us about what we should do so that we can get out of this and win this war. This is a war for all Nigerians, and we must win it. It's a pleasure having this program and having these two gentlemen on the program. And I know those who watched us on Facebook and YouTube will also send their comments so that we can interact more better after this program. Thanks for staying tuned, and stay tuned for other programs as we continue.